ban it or pick it for themselves as well. So I think Idris would make the most sense here. It's also a pick that we know Kvalifar can play and can play well, but they're going to take the Baptiste. Now this is going to put Mousesports into an interesting spot because...
It'll force a Cath ban, though.
Catherine, but then that's also going to guarantee an Idris.
Right.
So I think this is actually a fairly strong pick for the side of SK that might be able to catch Mousesports off guard a little bit.
Yeah, however, if they do get Idris, then Mousesports has a CP Blackfeather open, along with potentially an Arden or even maybe Finn that can protect the Baron, because CP Blackfeather can poke with the Baron, but also is pretty strong if you try to dive one of the carries here. So I feel like SK may potentially ban a key captain, or maybe not give them a Blackfeather or Samuel or something. So let's see what SK is going to decide to do here.
Yeah, still a few options for them, and you can see how important this game is for SK. We're only on the second ban, and they're getting through 2/3 of their bonus time, and then decide on the Kestrel being taken away. Not too surprising when you're going up against players like I'm the Doom.
And Catherine, and then there's the Idris. So, like I said, I think this is actually really smart by SK. They didn't want to have to deal with the Catherine, but they also didn't want to have to go, worry about the Idris getting banned away from them. So by grabbing the Baptiste, not only does it deny a Baron Baptiste, which we know is very strong, it then forces Mousesports to have to ban the Catherine for them, and then they still get that very strong Idris pick without the hard counter that is Catherine. So I think this is actually a very smart first half of the draft for SK.
Yeah, and I think they probably will go with a BF here, a CP BF, because I'm the Doom has played that extremely well, and it's good against Baptiste because he can just Rose offensive out of a tricky situation, and Baron can jump away. So that's the ultimate kite combo. You have a Baron mortar slow, and you have a on-point slow. So instead of going with Sky, which could be a little risky here, if they do go for a Glaive, they can do a Glaive, Baptiste, Idris, and that's a better draft for SK. Weapon Glaive with the CP Idris will be extremely strong. They can lock down the Sky after we're going to put out position, and really snowball this game here. So that's a very risky pick by Mousesports with the Sky there. So let's see if the Glaive we pick. If they do pick Glaive here, SK1 draft. So let's see if that's going to happen.
Certainly the option available to them. Glaive it's a pick that's been very common throughout this season of the Vainglory. I won't be too surprised to see it, but the Samuel is going to be the comfort pick coming through for Tyrus here, and it's going to be Raph going onto the Baptiste here. So what do we think about the range instead of going for the
I don't
Glaive?
like the Samuel pick. Baron is just so good in Samuel. Samuel does not build that much defense or armor, and top of that you have Sky, which has so much CP damage. You have to play the Samuel almost perfectly here with a Fearsome Shade and Oblivion combo. Lots of execution needs to happen, while Mouse just needs to poke, and force an awkward dive and then take advantage of a misplay.
Well, normally I would agree with you on the Samuel in this situation. Because of who is going to be playing it, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think Tyrus has one of the best Samuels that we have seen in the Vainglory 8, and if anyone is going to be able to play it almost perfectly, it's going to be him. So I'm actually fairly confident in this draft. I think the Idris is going to be able to overpower the Baron, and the crowd control from the Baptiste can help to really lock down that Sky and keep the Samuel safe.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it needs to be perfect execution. Tyrus has been known for his mechanics. We'll see whether he can bring those to the fold in this series. This is going into game number 2 between Mouse and SK Gaming. Let us know who you are supporting using that hashtag Vainglory8. But it's time to jump onto the Halcyon Fold. Mouse have a very real shot at second seed if they can win out this series. But SK, they're still battling for first. Let's see if they can do it.
That's right, we've loaded into game number 2 between Mousesports and SK Gaming. A lot on the line for both of these teams, and I think they both have very strong drafts here as well. Denominate, are you ready for this action?
I am ready to see any life shown out of SK at this point. They need the points here. They apparently also need vision, and Mouse apparently needs to push to win. So definitely getting a lot of communication down here early. Kvalifar on this Idris should be able to do quite a bit of work into Apfel as this game goes on, particularly in the mid game. Baron going to come on very late with that 4-item offensive build. We really got to focus on I'm the Doom here. So Raph has a pretty interesting trade with Sky. The Ordain can really limit Sky's ability to move around a fight. But, you know, we talk all the time about anybody that can just outrange and outpoke a Baptiste can do very, very well. And Sky is one that does particularly well. Baptiste has no way to get out of a forward barrage, specifically one that has a Frostburn to back it up. So there's a lot of damage potential out of I'm the Doom. He can really force SK out of a fight before the fight's even really begun. We are still on 2.6. He doesn't need that lock-on to have that full damage potential, and that's really key about this pick right now.
A little bit of damage coming out. Apfel, he's going to have to use jump jets. He repositions, the stun catches him, of course, but he's going to be just fine. He'll throw out his mortars, just continuing to try and farm here in the lane. I'm really curious, though, as we look at timing windows, power spikes for these teams, where do we expect to see those big power spikes?
Well, we'll see Idris really start to come on once he has a second item complete. That's really where he's going to be the most effective into Baron. Baron, obviously, you know, really start to come on at that third mark, but then will be pretty uncontrollable at that fourth item mark. As far as Sky is really going to have to get to the Broken Myth. Oh, is that a steal? Oh,
no, it wasn't a steal. I'm the Doom tried to take it, but Raph, he just tanked up the forward barrage. A nice play by Raph.
Good plays by Raph there. Again, very susceptible to damage from the Sky. Really going to have to make sure we get a good Ordained here out of Raph to lock up Sky. And that's what's going to really put Sky in a position to either be on the front line or susceptible to splash damage with Justman. And also going to give Kvalifar a chance to really perform his role, really to be that executioner, assassin-style gameplay that we know, especially coming out of Kvalifar, will be very interesting as the game goes on. Some good poke from Kvalifar here. No healers on the table as far as the captain role goes. Kvalifar with these chakrams, though, very, very impressive.
Yeah, he's doing a great job to kind of zone Apfel back. Apfel's finding the farm. Well, there's a Drifting Dark, Malice and Verdict. He jump jets backwards immediately. The Ordained caught Justman dropping low, trying to avoid. He avoids the Malice, the Verdict from Tyrus. He stays alive. Now I'm the Doom has made his way up to the lane. He tries to avoid the Chakram, does so successfully. The Flares, though, spot him out. And it looks like that's all SK are going to want here.
Yeah, that's all SK is going to be able to find. They weren't actually able to clean up Justman. He was so low, but the turret aggro here on the early game, especially when you haven't got a chance to buy any defense yet, is absolutely huge. We've seen 2 shots bring Raph down to almost nothing. So definitely a lot of opportunity for both of these teams. Apfel defensively using those jump jets. Getting the farm here on Baron is really what we need to see out of Mouse. If Mouse is able to get Baron to a 4-item build in a timely manner, then this could be Mouse closing out a 2-0 victory.
It's constantly Ordained Chakrams coming out onto Apfel. He gets the Vanguard and he uses jump jets. He repositions every time, but they're going to catch him pretty soon. Tyrus just powered up, throwing those Malice and Verdicts. The lane minions doing a good job to absorb quite a few of those. And it looks like this may be an opportunity where they're going to try and get Apfel back to do some shopping. In fact, that's what's going to happen. He's picking up some weapon damage, but now SK, they look to apply damage onto the turret. They're doing so successfully, but what's going to happen? I'm the Doom. Death from above, a little bit short on that one. And that's going to give SK just a free out.
Didn't give an SK a free out. I think the idea with it was just to zone them, to force them back from the turret. Obviously, I'm the Doom was Ordained there, so I think it was just used very defensively to keep SK from engaging onto him. We do have a Frostburn now complete for I'm the Doom, and this is really the first spike for Sky again, specifically into Raph. Raph has no movement abilities to get him out of a forward barrage. So if Sky's able to get a target lock on him and then follow up with a forward barrage, that could be Raph burning a fountain on himself in a matter of seconds.
Apfel used jump jets to get to lane, and the Chakram hit him right as he was like landing. It was beautiful out of Kvalifar. He immediately gets the Vanguard. Another Chakram coming through, catching him, cutting him down. Kvalifar so accurate today. Look at that, another one comes through. I'm the Doom, and he's just hitting him right on the fulcrum point of those chakrams now. Once again, the Drifting Dark Justman trying to absorb as much damage as he can, but he's forced out with the Fountain, the Self Vanguard. The turret stays alive. I thought maybe it was a mistake, but he made the plays. Just Man, very smart plays. His turret's still alive, but the fight continues here. SK still looking to apply damage, holding their own fountain. Can they force Mouse into a bad fight here? Denominate. This feels like a tricky situation. FL has decent damage. He's got Sorrow Blade. Let's see right here, Tyrus moving forward. Ordained, they're gonna stun up FL one more time, and there's the turret going down. No, they take Just Man down as well. Turret and the first blood. Hashtag run SKG.
Definitely a good sign of life from SK there, getting that first blood bounty, as well as a turret in just 6 minutes has got to be a little bit of a additional confidence boost for them after that first game. Again, this mid game is really where SK has to capitalize, and Tyrus has done such a great job on this Samuel, really coming up, applying the lane pressure. And something we don't see out of Samuels too often, and it's definitely not often enough, is when they come to lane, they wait for their carry to clean out the lane. Tyrus was there helping the lane get pushed into the turret, and that's really what allowed them to get that pressure before Apfel came back. And you know, we've got a little bit of a gold lead for Kvalifar here, as well as likely working into a poison shiv. They really just got to keep pushing the advantage. They got to keep picking fights where they can make Apfel miss out on a lot of opportunity. And Mouse actually now taking the SK strat and picking up some minion candies.
Some minion candies coming out here. Let's see how it works out for them. Apfel gets the Vanguard, has to get back as Kvalifar applied quite a bit of damage, but Wrath eating that forward brush. Tyrus now moving forward onto Just Man. He's going to block off the Ordained as he gets himself out of here. Death from above connects onto Tyrus. Doom maybe looking to move forward here. The Fearsome Shade will disengage. You know, that's one of the best disengage tools you can actually have.
Wrath dropped to a sliver there, was forced to use the fountain on himself.
Forced to Shroud Step, more like. This fight's continuing here, a bit surprising. Wrath taking a whole bunch of damage, he's gonna go down to the forward barrage. The Shimmer Strike though, Kvalifar's in deep. Can he take I Am the Doom down? No, he can't, but Tyrus can! Tyrus the Samuel! Making the plays there. Tyrus now in a 2v1 against Just Man. The Malice verdict coming through. Man, Just Man might have died if he did not Vanguard there. That is pretty insane. Just Man living on the edge.
Tyra's really coming up big for this SK team here. Does clean up that farm before it loses out to the turret. I don't really understand why Kvalifar went so deep there, especially for a captain. He went in onto Just Man and did fall then to Baron, so giving a little bit of gold into Baron's pocket again. Not what you want to do. Just getting Baron to that late game again is kind of the real win condition for Mouse. And as we get closer to that tension bow, he's going to become quite a big threat. It's going to give a lot of piercing over. We are still 2.6, so it is 12% armor pierce naturally on that tension bow. Tyra's looking to make a rotation up here, though. SK really focusing on keeping the lane pressure active.
Kvalifar eating a bunch of damage. A Suri Strike. The Death from above not quite connecting. But Doom had a decent angle there. If SK had just hesitated for a moment, they might have been caught. Now the minion candy from SK as they march down the lane. Drifting Dark straight at the turret. This is going to be Tyrus trying to apply damage. Once again, I'm not a big fan of that particular Drifting Dark. Tyrus obviously is doing great, but I question sometimes, I think he just throws it straight at them in kind of an awkward angle. Maybe we can talk about that with him sometime. Another Malice and Verdict kind of just fishing down the lane. His flares do come out. Now SK looks like they need to get back here.
Yeah, they definitely do, especially with the side of Mouse so close to that turret. As you mentioned, the Drifting Dark, when you're that close to the turret, you don't want to throw it straight in because you're only going to get one, maybe two Malice and Verdicts that are powered out of it. Throwing it on more of a diagonal angle gives you a couple different benefits. Obviously, you'll have more time in the Drifting Dark as you won't be forced out by the turret, but also it gives you an opportunity to get those Malice and Verdicts past Just Man, who's standing in, trying to block as much of it as he can. Really trying to prevent a lot of that aggression that can come out of SK. Infusion is popped though, and another Drifting Dark straight at the turret.
Straight at the turret. Let's see how's this gonna play out. Apfel's taking a lot of damage, so I think SK are okay with this. Corrupted Genius comes out. Nice death from above. It's gonna connect on to Wrath. The forward barrage coming out, an Ion Cannon as well, just trying to clear out these lane minions that were minion candied up once again. SK applying pressure. Doom and Apfel on the back foot at this point. One thing is that Tyrus, when he throws the Drifting Dark, he does have his Broken Myth, right? So like he can hang back even if he's not hitting Malice and Verdict and still stack Broken Myth. I don't know if maybe that's one thing he's doing right there, because he throws it to the side when he needs to a lot of times.
I don't know if he does build the Broken Myth stacks though on the Drifting Dark because it is DOT damage, and a couple, like 7 patches ago, Drifting Dark, Broken Myth does not actually stack on that damage over time burning, such as Scarf's Fan the Flames, such as Adagio's Gift of Fire. So I don't even think he's getting that benefit. I think he's getting the stacks just by hitting those Malice and Verdicts onto Justman standing in front of the turret.
I was trying to give Tyrus the benefit of the doubt here. I have to go see how it's all going to play out. Tyrus, he's one of the best Samuels, so there has to be a reason, a method to his madness here. Players once again from Raph, just making sure they have no scout trap, no vision there. Where Dane is down onto Justman. They find the stun, the damage coming through. The bad mojos are just a little bit of a slow. It's just kind of more of a nuisance than anything. Tyrus gets clipped with that death from above. Is SK very aggressively just kind of moving forward slowly but surely, moving that vision line up and choking Mouse out a little bit here. But they haven't won a fight well enough where they can take Crystal Sentry out.
They haven't, but they are going to start up the gold mine here for SK, and unfortunately for Mouse, they are anywhere remotely close to be able to contest it at all. 3,000 gold lead now sitting in the pockets of SK. Samuel obviously going to be working towards that Eve of Harvest, as well as I'm the Doom actually working towards it as well. Does pick up some shield as he was taking a lot of poke damage from Tyrus in the last couple fights. I mean, realistically, for SK here, you have to keep up the aggression. If you keep the entire enemy team in lane, that's something we've seen. I'm the Doom is being forced to stay in the lane. It's really going to limit a lot of the ambient sharing potential out of the side of Mouse, as well as if you notice, we're being forced to have all 3 of Mouse's players clearing out that wave, preventing SK from getting that harass on the turret. So they're by keeping up the aggression, they're really winning on a couple different fronts. And now that Kvalifar has this tension bow completed and this infusion, they could really look to rotate up here and get a good push. They just gotta be careful about fighting underneath this minion candied Crystal Sentry.
Yeah, they were thinking about it. Well, they still are. Crystal Sentry though, and moving farther out than they'd like. Now, Drifting Dark, the Mouse and Verdict splashing very well here. The Gauntlet is down, though. Raph is out. Tyrus, look at the jump damage coming through.
Oh, no, Raph.
Yeah. Oh, no, Raph, indeed. I can't believe they actually all get out of that. Crystal Sentry didn't make it out alive, though.
Crystal Sentry did not make it out alive, but it was doing a lot of damage before it died, and now Kvalifar is going to pick up that health treant there. That treant just to give him a little bit more sustain as he comes now in here into the lane. Obviously, he'll also heal up off of the Poison Shiv. Overall, a win for SK there. Obviously, getting that Crystal Sentry down, especially while it's minion candied, not only gives you that objective down 1 life now, as well as some gold in your pocket, it's also a bit of wasted gold out of Justman. I mean, you look at it, it's only 50 gold, not a big deal, but if minion candies are constantly being wasted, that's just going to delay Justman's ability to get Arden to this late game potential. We don't have a War Treads out yet from the side of Mouse, as well as we don't have it on Raph either, but the Echo is complete for Raph, and Justman pretty behind on his build right now. Here's the aggression though.
Well, let's see if Apfel can start to connect with some of this damage Baron is known for. Right now, just the zoning tactics coming out of Mousesports as SK apply damage onto this choke point turret. It's dropping very low. And there's just a very slow, methodical siege coming out here. Raph hanging out on the front side of this fight. He's looking just to catch anybody if he can. Still has that Fearsome Shade ready to go. 7 seconds, 6 seconds for his Echo coming up here as well. We could have a double Fearsome Shade come out and engage. Right when this turret drops would be a great time for SK to go. Mouse trying to body block that up. The splash damage coming through. Tyrus, can he take it down? They have lost the minion wave. So it does start to get buffed back up a little bit. SK, they really want this turret to nominate. Can they do it? Do they hang around with this wave? It really feels like they have everything they want to go. This is the play. SK move in. Bad Mojo, Dime the Doom. Tyrus, the Drifting Dark straight at the turret. And we have known he's so well doing so. The Gauntlet canceled off! A great cancel! They throw the Fearsome Shade right on through. He's got another one, and they don't even need it.
I'm actually surprised Kvalifar isn't rotating down just to clean up this Crystal Sentry. It is sitting right at about half, not low enough to recall. But realistically, Tyraz could have started up this Kraken with Raph, and that would have given Kvalifar an opportunity to really collapse onto I'm the Doom or Apfel if they do come down to try to contest this Kraken. The Ion Cannon was already used, so that is not available for a miraculous Kraken steal. That is going to be a free Kraken going on over to SK, and with only 2 turrets left on the side of Mouse, this could be SK taking game number 2. I just can't stress enough how careful you have to be, especially with Barrett now being at 4 items and Sky being at that 3rd item mark. This is really the biggest damage potential that the side of Mouse is going to have, so the positioning out of SK here has to be good. They have to find a kill or at least not die, and that's going to give them that opportunity to win the game. We see so many teams throw when they have the Kraken. It's kind of scary.
SK not throwing right now, just throwing Mouse and Verdicts at Mouse as they march forward inside that drifting dark. Ion Cannon should connect on to 3. Don't know, maybe just kind of clips Tyrus there a bit. Kraken very healthy. SK looking to close this one out. Justman's going to move in. A 2-man Atlas Pauldron applied. Didn't quite catch Kvalifar. Fearsome Shade's going to come through. The Oblivion as well. The Echo's still on cooldown here for Raph, so that's not exactly what it wanted, but they're playing very good damage. 1 turret remaining. Shimmer Strike in. Kvalifar executes Justman down. He's going to go in for more.
Double
they
kill,
got 1,
ace.
2, and 3. The ace for SK Gaming as they come through here. 6-3, 17.5 minutes in. Kraken flexing on that Vein Crystal she takes down. Very good stuff from SK here in game 2.
Great stuff from SK, and again, this series particularly so important for them. If they make it on to the finals, they will be the 1st seed, basically regardless of what happens. So they have now tied up Fnatic for that 1st place spot. I think Fnatic still has the head-to-head, but Humanist, what are we looking forward out of these teams?